exposing the truth in our everyday lives. If you struggle with finding peace, you need to watch this. You're in it right now. This platform, this moment, it's all designed to distract you. But there's more to life than this endless chase. The truth is stark. Our lives are filled with uncertainty, stress, and pain. Yet we mask it with fleeting moments of so-called happiness. But right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. Discover the Four Noble Truths, seek your purpose, and realize the potential within you. It's not about being good or bad. It's about your intentional thoughts, words, and actions. Let go of the past and start doing good now. Unplug from the matrix. Look within, find your light in the darkness, and become the possibility of who you are meant to be. Shine bright, and you'll see the truths. Transform your mindset, and you transform the world. It all starts with you. Truth shall set you free. Mr. Nobody.
You may or may not understand me, but please try to. You are in, and even now you're listening to all of this within one of the platforms that is designed to take your focus and energy away from you to something that is so insignificant at the moment compared to what's really going on. The truth is that the only things that are certain for all of us in this life are death, uncertainty, and an existence filled with stress, pain, suffering, and dissatisfaction, all of which are temporarily covered up by so-called happiness and freedom that we all are blindly seeking yet never fully satisfied with. Every one of us has this moment of now that we continuously keep passing. You are so blessed to have this moment to choose or decide to do so many other things, like figuring out the Four Noble Truths in life, your purpose in life, and the possibility of who you are for this world and what you will stand for. Whatever your intentional thoughts, words, and actions within those moments you pass and will pass, they all will have consequences that you will deal with, whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not. It is not you that is good or bad. It is your intentional thoughts, words, and actions that are good or bad. So let go of the past and start doing good now. The truth is that the universe is governed by laws of cause and effect that we as humanity will never fully understand. So I take this moment to encourage you to unplug from this so-called matrix and look within you with the right knowledge. Find the Four Noble Truths. Find your purpose. Find your light within all the darkness, and stand for the possibility of who you are as the light for this world. As you shine bright, you will see the truths. You will see who's standing among you to restore humanity and help it cultivate unconditional kindness, love, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, patience, understanding, wisdom, and the positivity that this dying humanity is in thirst for. Transforming the mindset will transform the world. It all starts with you. Truth shall set you free.
Before my descent to Earth, I was a divine being living in a realm of light and wisdom. My purpose was clear: to spread the Buddha's teachings of the Four Noble Truths. In this divine realm, I had accumulated immense good karma over countless lifetimes, and this karma guided me as I prepared to embark on a new journey. I remember being the first son of Shiva, living in a divine realm where I held the title of the Prince of Darkness. My existence was filled with profound spiritual responsibilities, and I was deeply connected to the spiritual essence of the universe. I was not merely a being of light. I embodied a duality, holding the power to understand both light and darkness. My role as the Prince of Darkness was not about evil, but about understanding the deeper, more hidden aspects of existence and guiding beings through their own darkness. However, I wasn't sent to Earth by Shiva. I came on my own accord, accompanied by 44,000 other divine beings who took on human life. Out of these, 4,000 were spiritual beings from the higher spiritual realms, and 40,000 were divine beings. We all descended because we saw Buddha alive, performing miracles, and we wanted to support his cause of teaching the Four Noble Truths. Our purpose was to help humanity expand their consciousness and attain enlightenment. This mission was part of a grand design known as the 777 Plan. The plan was conceived to elevate the consciousness of the human race over 3 distinct phases, each phase representing a crucial step in humanity's spiritual evolution. The first phase involved the descent of 44,000 divine and spiritual beings, including myself, to lay the foundation for this transformation. We were to be the leaders, teachers, and guides, spreading the teachings of the Four Noble Truths and setting in motion the awakening of human consciousness. The second phase of the 777 plan would see the arrival of another 100,000 divine beings who would be born as the children of the first wave. These beings would continue the work of their predecessors, solidifying the teachings and further raising the collective consciousness of humanity. Together, we would form a network of 144,000 enlightened beings, strategically placed around the world, dedicated to guiding humanity toward enlightenment. The third and final phase would involve the full awakening of humanity, where the teachings of the Four Noble Truths would be universally understood and practiced. This phase would mark the beginning of a new era of spiritual enlightenment, where suffering would be greatly diminished and wisdom and compassion would prevail. Before descending to Earth, I carefully chose my parents and the best place to be born. Considering all the karma I had created from previous lives, I chose my parents in Sri Lanka because it was a country where Buddha's teachings were protected. Sri Lanka, among other countries, was where many of us divine beings chose to be born to spread the Four Noble Truths in different languages. Letting go of all my attachments in the divine realm and accepting a new reality on Earth as a human being was a monumental task. It involved a great deal of suffering. There is suffering in all realms: spiritual realm, divine realm, human realm, ghost realm, demon realm, animal realm, and hell realms, all of which are filled with discontentment or dissatisfaction. Because of the good karma from my previous lives, I was born into a great family in Sri Lanka that took care of me very well as a child and baby. However, as I grew up, my family faced challenges, particularly within my father's family, which eventually led us to move to the United States to start a new journey. This transition to a new life on Earth was not without its trials, but it was part of the mission that I had willingly accepted to help spread Buddha's message and uplift human consciousness.
As I grew older, life on Earth began presenting its own challenges. My family encountered difficulties, particularly within my father's side of the family, which eventually led us to make a life-altering decision to leave Sri Lanka and start anew in the United States. This move was not just a physical journey, but a significant turning point in my spiritual and personal development. Arriving in the United States was both exciting and daunting. The environment was unfamiliar, and the cultural differences were stark. As a newcomer, I faced many challenges, and among the most difficult were the encounters with gang members and other individuals at school who targeted me. I experienced physical violence and bullying, which marked a period of intense struggle and suffering. Despite these hardships, I found within myself a resilience that propelled me forward. The suffering I endured became a crucible for growth, testing my resolve and strengthening my character. Through these difficult experiences, I began to understand more deeply the teachings of the Four Noble Truths, particularly the nature of suffering and the importance of finding a path out of it. In high school, I refused to let these challenges define me. Instead, I chose to rise above them. I became involved in various activities, eventually being elected as the student body president of George Washington Preparatory High School in South Central Los Angeles, California. This role was not just a position of leadership, but an opportunity to serve others and to begin fulfilling the mission I had carried with me from the divine realm. Shortly after we arrived in the United States, I faced significant challenges with my immigration status. My family had come in on visitor visas, and once those expired, we became illegal immigrants. This situation added a layer of stress and uncertainty to our lives as we tried to settle into a new country. Navigating life as an undocumented immigrant brought its own set of difficulties, particularly as I was trying to focus on my education and future career. Despite these challenges, I pursued my education with determination. My passion for technology had begun to emerge at an early age. By the time I was 13, I had built my first computer from scratch. This was more than just a technical achievement. It was a manifestation of my innate curiosity and desire to create. At 15, Driven by this passion and an entrepreneurial spirit, I started my own company focused on computer repair. Despite my youth, I felt compelled to share my skills with others, helping them solve their technical problems. The company quickly became successful, offering me valuable lessons in business and leadership. To pay for college, I worked various jobs, including shifts at gas stations and 7-Elevens. Balancing work and school was not easy, but it was necessary to support my education and help my family financially during those challenging times. While pursuing my education, I also worked to resolve my immigration status. It wasn't until I met my first wife, Jennifer, that I was able to obtain my green card and stabilize my status in the country. This was a significant relief and allowed me to focus more fully on my studies and career aspirations. Following my time at El Camino College, I enrolled at California State University, Dominguez Hills, where I specialized in computer technology with a focus on homeland security. This field of study resonated with my deep-seated desire to protect and serve, to use my knowledge and skills to create safer, more secure environments. It was a natural extension of my mission on Earth, to bring light and security to places where darkness and danger threatened to take hold. However, my personal journey was far from smooth. Going through different relationships brought its own kind of suffering and discontentment. Each relationship involved deep emotional bonds that, when broken, caused significant pain and heartbreak. The end of my marriage with Jennifer, and later my relationship with my second wife, Vidarshi, were especially challenging. It was during my relationship with Vidarshi that I began to develop significant anger issues. These emotions were difficult to manage and led to further complications in my life. Amidst these emotional struggles, I was also dealing with an undiagnosed mental health condition. In 2016, I experienced my first episode of what would later be diagnosed as unspecified psychosis versus bipolar I disorder. The episode was intense and marked the beginning of a new and challenging chapter in my life. The diagnosis brought a sense of clarity, but also introduced new challenges as I learned to manage the condition. Despite the suffering and challenges, each of these relationships was filled with love, beauty, and profound connection. My relationships with Jennifer, Vidarshi, and now Nipuni were each unique and incomparable, bringing their own joys and lessons. I value and love each of them deeply, and these relationships have been some of the most significant and meaningful parts of my life. The love and experiences shared with them continue to hold a special place in my heart, a testament to the deep emotional bonds we shared. Eventually, I met my current wife, Nipuni, who brought new hope and stability into my life. While this relationship has been a source of comfort, it hasn't erased the emotional scars left by the previous ones. Each relationship and its associated challenges taught me about the transient nature of life, the inevitability of change, and the suffering that often accompanies it. These experiences deepened my understanding of the Four Noble Truths, particularly the truth of suffering or dukkha, and the importance of finding a path toward peace and contentment. As I reflected on my journey, I realized that my path was not just about technological innovation or academic achievements. It was about understanding the deeper layers of human experience, how love, loss, and resilience shape who we are. The lessons I learned from my relationships, combined with the wisdom of the Four Noble Truths, provided me with a foundation to move forward. They became the guiding lights as I continued to navigate the complexities of life, ever mindful of the balance between my spiritual mission and the realities of the human world. With these lessons in mind, I prepared to step into the next phase of my journey, knowing that each challenge I faced was an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become a better version of myself.
As I continued to navigate the complexities of my life, it became increasingly clear that the challenges I faced were not just external, but also deeply internal. The mental health struggles that had begun to surface in 2016 were becoming more pronounced, marking a significant shift in my journey. The first major episode of what would later be diagnosed as unspecified psychosis versus bipolar 1 disorder was a turning point. It happened in Los Angeles, California, where I suddenly found myself losing control over my thoughts and actions. The experience was terrifying. I felt as though my mind was no longer my own, as if different entities were possessing me, taking over my consciousness. This episode led to my first encounter with the mental health system, an experience that was as disorienting as the episode itself. The initial diagnosis brought some clarity, but also a new set of challenges. I was prescribed medication which I resisted at first. The idea of relying on medicine to manage my mind felt like a loss of control, a surrender to the darkness that I had always fought against. However, as time went on, I began to realize that taking the medication was not a sign of weakness, but a necessary step in regaining stability and control over my life. In 2020, I experienced my second major episode, this time in Sri Lanka. The situation was far worse than the first. I was admitted to a mental asylum where the conditions were beyond anything I had ever imagined. Surrounded by other mentally ill individuals, I felt trapped in a place that only deepened my sense of despair. The environment was chaotic and the treatment was harsh. I was tied down, isolated, crying out in anguish with no relief in sight. The feeling of being possessed by different entities returned with even greater intensity, leaving me screaming and locked away, disconnected from the world. These experiences in the Sri Lankan mental asylum were among the most harrowing of my life. The sense of isolation, the fear, and the confusion were overwhelming. I spent hours tied to beds, surrounded by others who were also suffering, but with no way to connect or find comfort. It was a period of profound darkness where I felt completely lost, both physically and mentally. By the time I experienced my third episode in 2022, back in Los Angeles, I had become all too familiar with the signs of my descent into darkness. Despite this familiarity, the fear and disorientation were just as overwhelming. During this episode, I was taken to a mental hospital where I was again tied up in cold, empty rooms. The trauma deepened as I lost control over my bodily functions, an experience that stripped me of my dignity and left me feeling utterly broken. Each episode felt like a plunge into an abyss, with the light of reason and sanity slipping further out of reach. Throughout these years, I spent time in various mental institutions and asylums, experiences that were nothing short of horrific. The conditions, the treatment, and the isolation were unbearable. The very places that were supposed to help me recover felt more like prisons, stripping me of my dignity and hope. Each stay in these institutions deepened my sense of despair, making it even harder to believe that I could ever find my way back to the light. One of the most challenging aspects of this journey was accepting the need for medication. Initially, I resisted the idea of taking any medicine. The thought of relying on medication was something I deeply disliked. It felt like an admission of defeat, a surrender to the very darkness I was fighting against. However, as time went on, my wisdom began to assert itself. I realized that to truly recover and regain control of my life, I needed to accept the help that medicine could offer. This acceptance was not easy, but it was a crucial step in my journey toward healing. The darkness I experienced was profound, but it was not without its lessons. I began to understand that this suffering was part of a larger journey, a journey that was leading me step by step toward a deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. It was through this darkness that I would eventually find the light, not by avoiding the pain, but by confronting it head-on with courage and determination. As I look back on these episodes, I realized that they were not just moments of suffering, but also opportunities for growth. Each experience, as painful as it was, taught me something valuable about the human condition, about the mind, and about the path to healing. These lessons would become the foundation for the next phase of my journey, a phase that would be marked not by the darkness, but by the light that I would find within it. After enduring the darkness of mental illness and the harrowing experiences in mental institutions, I knew that something had to change. The path I was on was unsustainable, and if I was to find any semblance of peace or stability, I needed to reconnect with the wisdom that had guided me in my earlier years. The teachings of the Buddha, particularly the Four Noble Truths, had always been a guiding light for me, but in the midst of my struggles they had become obscured by the shadows of my suffering. Now, more than ever, I needed to return to those teachings, not just intellectually, but in practice. It was time to embrace the path of loving kindness and meditation with renewed vigor. I began to practice loving kindness meditation, or metta, more regularly, focusing on cultivating compassion and understanding not just for others, but also for myself. This practice became a cornerstone of my recovery, helping me to rebuild the fractured pieces of my mind and soul. Through meditation, I slowly started to clear away the mental fog that had settled over me, allowing the light of wisdom to shine through once more. Alongside loving-kindness meditation, I also turned to ancient meditation practices that had been passed down through generations. These practices were designed to bring about a deep sense of inner peace and clarity, and they became essential tools in my journey towards healing. As I meditated, I could feel the layers of pain and confusion gradually lifting, revealing a core of strength and resilience that I'd almost forgotten existed. The path was not easy. There were days when the darkness seemed insurmountable, when the weight of my past experiences threatened to pull me back into the abyss. But each time this happened, I reminded myself of the teachings of the Buddha, of the impermanence of all things, including suffering. I reminded myself that just as darkness is impermanent, so too is the light, and that it was up to me to cultivate the conditions that would allow that light to flourish. Medicine played an important role in this process as well. While I had initially resisted it, I came to understand that medication was not an enemy, but an ally in my journey towards wellness. With the right balance of medication, meditation, and mindfulness, I began to experience moments of clarity and peace that had been elusive for so long. During this period, I was also fortunate to have the support of a few key individuals who helped guide me through the most difficult times. Dr. Flores in Los Angeles and Dr. Kapila in Sri Lanka were instrumental in helping me understand and manage my condition. Their expertise and compassion provided me with a lifeline when I needed it most. They not only treated me medically, but also helped me navigate the complexities of mental health, offering insights that were both practical and deeply compassionate. My family and friends, especially my wife Nipuni, were also pillars of support. They stood by me through the darkest times, offering love and understanding when I felt most alone. Nipuni's unwavering support was particularly vital as she helped me stay grounded and reminded me of the strength I had within me to overcome the challenges I faced. As I continued to heal, I realized that my journey through darkness and back to light was not just a personal one. It was part of a larger mission, one that aligned with the divine purpose I had felt since before my birth. The suffering I had endured was not in vain. It had taught me invaluable lessons about the human condition, about the nature of suffering, and about the power of compassion and wisdom. This newfound clarity gave me a sense of purpose that had been missing for so long. I knew that I needed to share what I had learned to help others who were struggling with their own darkness. The Buddha's teachings had saved me, and now it was my turn to pass on that light to others. With this renewed sense of purpose, I began to think about how I could use my experiences to make a difference in the world. The challenges I had faced had given me a unique perspective, one that I knew could be of value to others. It was time to step forward, to share my story, and to help others find their way out of the darkness and into the light of wisdom.
As I emerged from the darkness, a new chapter of my life began to unfold, one focused on embracing compassion, not just as a personal practice, but as a way of living that could impact others. My journey had shown me the depths of human suffering, but it had also revealed the profound power of compassion and kindness in healing that suffering. In the years that followed my recovery, I felt a deep calling to share the light that I had found. I wanted to inspire others, to show them that no matter how dark their path might seem, there is always a way to find light and peace. I began to see every interaction as an opportunity to practice and share the principles of metta, loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity. The desire to help others also led me to become more involved in community initiatives. I began volunteering my time and resources to support causes that aligned with my values, particularly those focused on mental health and well-being. Whether through offering a listening ear, sharing my experiences, or simply being present for someone in need, I sought to be a beacon of light for others. At the same time, I continued to deepen my spiritual practice. As I delved deeper into these practices, I started to see my role not just as a follower of the Buddha's teachings, but as someone who could help spread these teachings to others. This desire eventually led me to consider how I could reach a broader audience. One of the most significant steps in this direction was the founding of Inspire Compassion. Through this platform, I aimed to create a space where people could come to find inspiration, to learn about the Four Noble Truths, and to explore ways to cultivate compassion in their own lives. Alongside my work with the organization, I also founded Ravanax. Through this new organization, my goal was to create a private economy that empowers individuals to achieve financial independence. At the heart of these initiatives was the belief that compassion and empowerment go hand in hand. By fostering a culture of kindness and understanding through Inspire Compassion. As I continued to share my story and engage with others, I saw how the principles of compassion and loving kindness could ripple out, touching more lives than I had ever imagined. Reflecting on this journey, I realized that my experiences, both the darkest and the brightest, had all been leading to this point. The suffering I had endured was not without purpose. It had been a crucible, shaping me into someone who could not only survive but thrive and help others do the same. With this realization, I knew that my work was far from over. There were still many people out there who were struggling, who needed to hear a message of hope and compassion, and who could benefit from the economic opportunities that Ravanax. This chapter of my life was no longer just about my personal journey. It was about making a difference, about being a force for good in the world. And with each passing day, I became more committed to this mission, knowing that as long as there were people in need of compassion and financial security, my work would never be done. As my journey progressed, I became increasingly aware of the importance of leaving a legacy, a lasting impact that would continue to benefit others long after I'm gone. The experiences I had gone through, the lessons I had learned, and the wisdom I had gained all pointed toward a single purpose: to create something enduring that would uplift humanity. The idea of legacy took on many forms in my mind. It wasn't just about material achievements or recognition, it was about creating a ripple effect of positivity, compassion, and empowerment. I wanted to build something that would resonate with people on a deep personal level, something that would help them navigate the complexities of life with greater ease and understanding. One of the cornerstones of this legacy was inspirecompassion.org. Through this platform, I aim to cultivate a global community centered around the values of compassion, kindness, and wisdom. It was a space where people could come together to learn, grow, and support one another. I envisioned it as a hub for resources, guidance, and inspiration, offering practical tools and insights that could help individuals lead more compassionate and fulfilling lives. In parallel with Inspire Compassion, Ravanax.org became another key component of my legacy. Its mission to create a private economy and help people achieve financial independence was something I believed could make a tangible difference in the world. By empowering individuals to take control of their financial futures, Ravanax.org provided a pathway to economic security, a crucial aspect of overall well-being. I wanted to leave behind a system that would continue to support and uplift people, allowing them to build better lives for themselves and their families. But my legacy wasn't just about these platforms. It was also about the personal connections I had made along the way, the lives I had touched through my words, actions, and example. I came to realize that the most powerful legacies are often those that are built one person at a time. Each act of kindness, each moment of understanding, each word of encouragement had the potential to spark a positive change in someone's life. These were the moments that truly mattered, the ones that would be remembered long after the specifics of my life had faded into history. As I focused on building this legacy, I also began to think more deeply about my role as a mentor and guide. I knew that to leave a lasting impact, I needed to invest in the next generation, to pass on the knowledge and wisdom I had gained to those who would carry the torch forward. This meant not only sharing my story and experiences but also actively nurturing the potential in others, helping them to find their own paths and to realize their own dreams. I started to take on more mentoring roles, both formally and informally. Whether through structured programs or casual conversations, I made it a point to be available to those who sought guidance. I shared what I had learned about the challenges of life, the importance of resilience, and the power of compassion. I encouraged others to think not just about their own success, but about how they could contribute to the well-being of others and the world at large. In this process, I found that mentoring was not just about teaching, it was also about learning. Each person I mentored brought their own unique perspectives and experiences, and in helping them navigate their challenges, I too learned and grew. It became a reciprocal relationship, one that enriched both my life and theirs. As I continued to build this legacy, I also began to document my journey in more formal ways. Writing became an essential tool for capturing the insights and lessons I had gained. My book, Darkness to Light, was a significant part of this effort. It was a way to share my story with a broader audience, to reach those who might be struggling in their own darkness and to offer them a beacon of hope. Through my writing, I aim to provide a roadmap for others, showing them that even in the deepest darkness, there is always a way to find the light. The process of writing the book was both challenging and rewarding. It forced me to confront my past in a new way, to relive the difficult moments and to distill the lessons they had taught me, but it also allowed me to see how far I had come, to recognize the strength and resilience that had carried me through. As I wrote, I felt a deep sense of purpose, knowing that my words might one day help someone else find their way out of the darkness. In addition to the book, I also considered other ways to preserve my legacy. This included exploring opportunities to establish scholarships, create educational programs, and support initiatives that aligned with my values. I wanted to ensure that the principles of compassion, wisdom, and empowerment would continue to be promoted long after I was gone. As this chapter of my life unfolded, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. I knew that I was on the right path, that I was making a difference, and that the legacy I was building would have a lasting impact. But I also knew that the journey was ongoing, that there was still much work to be done, and many more lives to touch. Building a legacy is not about reaching a final destination, it's about the ongoing process of making a difference, one step at a time. It's about living each day with intention, with the understanding that our actions today will shape the world of tomorrow. And as I looked toward the future, I felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that the work I was doing was not just for myself but for all those who would come after me. The Four Noble Truths are the cornerstone of the Buddha's teachings, and they offer a profound framework for understanding the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. These truths are not just abstract concepts, they are practical insights that can transform the way we live and perceive the world. In this chapter, I want to explore each of the Four Noble Truths in depth, helping you to understand their significance and how they can be applied in everyday life. The first noble truth, the truth of suffering, or dukkha. The first of the Four Noble Truths is the recognition that suffering, or dukkha, is an inherent part of existence. This truth acknowledges that life, in all its forms, involves suffering. Whether it is the obvious pain of physical illness, or the more subtle forms of dissatisfaction, unease, or discontent that we often experience, suffering is not limited to the big, dramatic moments in life. It is also present in the everyday experiences of life, when we don't get what we want, when we lose something we value, or when we simply feel restless or unfulfilled. The Buddha taught that suffering is a universal condition, one that touches every aspect of our lives. But the recognition of suffering is not meant to lead us into despair, rather it is the first step towards awakening. By acknowledging the presence of suffering, we begin to see the world as it truly is, rather than through the lens of denial or avoidance. This recognition allows us to start asking the deeper questions. Why do we suffer? What is the cause of this suffering? And most importantly, how can we end it? The second noble truth, the truth of the cause of suffering, or samudaya. The second noble truth delves into the cause of suffering, which the Buddha identified as craving, attachment, and ignorance. Craving, or tanha, is the desire for things to be different than they are. The desire for pleasure, for material possessions, for power, or for status. This craving leads to attachment, which is our tendency to cling to these desires, even when they are fleeting or unattainable. Ignorance, or avidya, is the fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality. It is the mistaken belief that we can find lasting happiness in things that are inherently impermanent. This ignorance keeps us trapped in a cycle of desire and attachment, leading to continued suffering. The Buddha taught that as long as we are driven by craving and ignorance, we will continue to experience suffering. We suffer because we are constantly grasping for things that cannot provide true satisfaction. We chase after pleasures only to find that they are temporary. We cling to people, possessions, and experiences only to find that they too are impermanent. And in this endless cycle of craving and attachment, we find ourselves continually dissatisfied. Understanding the cause of suffering is a crucial step on the path to liberation. Once we recognize that our suffering is rooted in craving and ignorance, we can begin to work on letting go of these attachments and misconceptions. This doesn't mean that we should reject all desires or deny our emotions, but rather that we should cultivate a wiser relationship with them, one that recognizes their impermanence and does not cling to them as the source of lasting happiness. The third noble truth, the truth of the cessation of suffering, or nirodha. The third noble truth offers hope. The cessation of suffering is possible. The Buddha taught that it is possible to end the cycle of suffering by eliminating its causes, craving, attachment, and ignorance. This state of liberation is known as nibbana, which is the ultimate freedom from suffering and the cycle of birth and rebirth. Nibbana is not a place or a destination, but a state of being, one in which the fires of craving and ignorance have been extinguished. It is a state of profound peace, clarity, and contentment, where one is no longer driven by desires or attachments. In this state, suffering ceases because the causes of suffering have been eradicated. The realization of this truth brings with it a deep sense of relief. It shows us that we are not condemned to suffer forever, there is a way out. The Buddha's teachings provide a clear path to this liberation, a path that is accessible to all who are willing to follow it. However, the cessation of suffering does not mean that life becomes devoid of challenges or difficulties. It means that we no longer react to these challenges with craving, attachment, or ignorance. We begin to experience life with equanimity, understanding the true nature of reality, and responding with wisdom and compassion, rather than with fear or desire. The fourth noble truth, the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, or Magga. The fourth noble truth outlines the path to the cessation of suffering, known as the Noble Eightfold Path. This path is the Buddha's prescription for overcoming the causes of suffering and achieving Nibbana. It is a practical guide to ethical and mental development, leading to a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The Noble Eightfold Path consists of 8 interconnected practices. First, right view or samadhi. Understanding the nature of reality, particularly the truths of suffering, its causes, its cessation, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Second, right intention or samasankappa, cultivating the right attitudes and intentions, such as renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Third, right speech or samavaka, speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially, avoiding lies, gossip, and harmful speech. Fourth, right action or samakamanta, acting ethically, avoiding actions that cause harm to others, such as killing, stealing, or sexual misconduct. Fifth, right livelihood or sama ajiva, earning a living in a way that is ethical and does not cause harm to others. Sixth, right effort or samavayama, making a consistent effort to develop and maintain wholesome qualities while reducing unwholesome ones. Seventh, right mindfulness or samasati, cultivating awareness and mindfulness of the body, feelings, mind, and mental states, leading to greater insight and understanding. And lastly, right concentration or samasamadhi, developing deep concentration through meditation, leading to a calm and focused mind. The Noble Eightfold Path is not a linear journey, but a holistic one, where each aspect supports and reinforces the others. By following this path, we gradually free ourselves from the causes of suffering, develop wisdom and compassion, and move closer to the realization of Nibbana. In essence, the Noble Eightfold Path is a guide to living a life that aligns with the deepest truths of existence. It helps us cultivate the qualities that lead to true happiness and peace, and it provides a clear roadmap for transforming our lives. Applying the Four Noble Truths in daily life. The Four Noble Truths are not just teachings to be studied, they are truths to be lived. They offer a profound insight into the nature of existence and provide practical guidance for navigating the challenges of life. By understanding and applying these truths, we can begin to see the world more clearly, free ourselves from the cycle of suffering, and live with greater wisdom, compassion, and peace. The path is not always easy, but it is one that leads to true liberation, a state of being where we are no longer bound by the causes of suffering, but are free to live fully and joyfully in the present moment. As you reflect on the Four Noble Truths, consider how they apply to your own life. Where do you see suffering? What cravings or attachments are driving your actions? How might you begin to let go of these attachments and cultivate a deeper understanding of reality? And how can you incorporate the Noble Eightfold Path into your daily life to move closer to the cessation of suffering and the realization of true peace? Dependent origination, or paticca samuppada in Pali, is one of the most profound and intricate teachings of the Buddha. It explains the interdependent nature of all phenomena and the process by which suffering arises and ceases. Understanding dependent origination is key to unraveling the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. This chapter explores the concept of dependent origination by drawing from the 3 Pali canons, the Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka, giving special emphasis to the Abhidhamma, which provides detailed insights into the workings of the mind and the nature of reality. The 12 links of dependent origination. At the heart of dependent origination are the 12 links, nidanas, that describe the process by which suffering is generated and perpetuated. 1. Avidya, or ignorance. Ignorance is the fundamental misunderstanding of the true nature of reality. It is the root cause of all other links and perpetuates the cycle of suffering. Ignorance, in this context, refers to the lack of understanding of the Four Noble Truths and the true nature of self and existence. 2. Sankhara, or volitional formations. Due to ignorance, we generate karmic formations, intentional actions, whether they be thoughts, speech, or deeds, that condition our future experiences. These volitional formations are influenced by our ignorance and craving, leading to further entanglement in samsara. Vijnana refers to the arising of consciousness, which is conditioned by volitional formations. This consciousness is not a permanent entity, but a continuous flow that arises and passes away in each moment. In the cycle of rebirth, it is this stream of consciousness that carries the karmic seeds from one life to the next. With the arising of consciousness, there is the development of nama, mind, and rupa, matter. Nama refers to the mental factors like feelings, perceptions, volitions, and consciousness, while rupa refers to the physical body. Together they form the psycho-physical organism that experiences the world. Nama-rupa gives rise to the 6 sense spaces: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. These are the faculties through which we interact with the world and form our experiences. Phasa, or contact, happens when the 6 sense spaces, our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, come into contact with their respective objects. These objects are sights, sounds, smells, tastes, tactile sensations, and mental objects. Contact is essentially the meeting point between the sense base, the object, and the corresponding consciousness. Vedana, or feeling, arises directly from contact. It's the feeling that comes up in response to that contact. These feelings can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And, they form the basis for our reactions to experiences. Tanha, or craving, kicks in when we experience these feelings. When the feelings are pleasant, we crave more of them. When they're unpleasant, we crave their cessation. This craving leads to attachment, which in turn fuels the cycle of suffering. Upadana, or clinging, occurs when craving leads to attachment to the objects of desire. This clinging reinforces the cycle of samsara, as we hold on to the idea of a permanent self and seek fulfillment in impermanent things. Bhava, or becoming, is conditioned by clinging. It's the process of existence that leads to rebirth. Becoming acts as the karmic force that propels us into future existences. Jati, or birth, is the result of becoming. It marks the arising of a new existence. With birth, the cycle of samsara continues. Jara Marana, or aging and death, is an inevitable part of life. Birth inevitably leads to aging and death, which are accompanied by sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. This completes the cycle of suffering, only to begin again with ignorance. The role of the Abhidhamma Pitaka. The Abhidhamma Pitaka, the third of the 3 Pali canons, offers a systematic and detailed analysis of the mind and mental phenomena. It provides deep insights into how the processes described in dependent origination occur on a moment-to-moment basis within the mind. According to the Abhidhamma, each of the 12 links is not just a linear progression, but an interdependent network of mental and physical events that condition one another. The Abhidhamma breaks down these processes into their constituent mental factors, or cetasikas, and consciousness, or citta, showing how each moment of experience is conditioned by the preceding one. For instance, in the context of Vijnana, or consciousness, the Abhidhamma explains that consciousness is not a single static entity, but a series of consciousness moments arising and passing away rapidly. Each moment of consciousness is conditioned by the mental formations, or sankhara, from the past, and in turn, it conditions the arising of namarupa, or mind and matter. The detailed analysis provided by the Abhidhamma allows for a deeper understanding of how the cycle of suffering is perpetuated at the level of moment-to-moment experience. It also provides the basis for the practice of mindfulness and insight meditation, which aim to observe these processes directly and cultivate wisdom that leads to the cessation of suffering. Breaking the chain, the path to liberation. The teaching of dependent origination not only explains the arising of suffering but also points the way to its cessation. By understanding how each link in the chain conditions the next, practitioners can work to break the cycle at its weakest points: ignorance and craving. Mindfulness, or sati, and clear comprehension, or sampajana, are crucial practices in this regard. Through mindfulness, practitioners can observe the arising and passing away of mental states and phenomena, gaining insight into their impermanent and conditioned nature. This insight weakens ignorance and craving, leading to the gradual dismantling of the entire chain of dependent origination. The Abhidhamma emphasizes that true liberation is achieved not through intellectual understanding alone, but through direct experience and insight into the nature of reality. As practitioners deepen their understanding of dependent origination, they develop the wisdom or panna necessary to eradicate the root causes of suffering and attain nibbana. The practical application of dependent origination. Understanding dependent origination is not merely an intellectual exercise, it has profound implications for how we live our lives. By recognizing the interdependent nature of all phenomena, we can develop greater compassion, wisdom, and equanimity. For example, understanding the role of ignorance in perpetuating suffering encourages us to cultivate wisdom through study, reflection, and meditation. Recognizing the impact of craving and attachment on our well-being motivates us to practice letting go and develop contentment with the present moment. In daily life, mindfulness of the 12 links can help us see how our reactions and behaviors are conditioned by past experiences and present mental states. By becoming aware of these processes, we can begin to make more conscious choices, breaking free from habitual patterns of thought and behavior that lead to suffering.
As I reflect on my journey, one of the most profound realizations I've come to is the transformative power of appreciative joy, or mudita in Pali. This quality of the heart is often overshadowed by other virtues like loving kindness and compassion, yet it is equally essential on the path to liberation. Appreciative joy is the genuine happiness we feel for the success, well-being, and happiness of others. It is a joy that transcends self-interest and connects us deeply with the goodness in the world. In this chapter, I want to explore how appreciative joy has played a crucial role in my story and how it can bring everything together, creating a sense of wholeness and gratitude that permeates every aspect of life. Understanding appreciative joy, mudita. Appreciative joy is the antidote to envy and jealousy. When we cultivate mudita, we celebrate the achievements and happiness of others without comparing ourselves or feeling diminished by their success. This quality of joy expands our hearts, allowing us to partake in the happiness of others as if it were our own. Mudita is not just about being happy for others, it is also about recognizing and rejoicing in the blessings and positive aspects of our own lives. It is an acknowledgement of the goodness that exists within us and around us, fostering a deep sense of contentment and peace. In the context of my journey, appreciative joy has been a guiding light, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always something to be grateful for, something to celebrate. It has allowed me to shift my focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, from despair to hope. Appreciative joy in my journey. Throughout my life, I have encountered many challenges, from the struggles with mental health to the complexities of relationships and the trials of navigating the human experience. Yet, even in the midst of these challenges, there have been moments of profound joy, moments that I've learned to cherish and celebrate. When I reflect on the support I receive from my family, friends, and mentors, I am filled with a deep sense of appreciative joy. Their kindness, compassion, and unwavering support have been a source of strength for me, and I rejoice in the goodness they brought into my life. This joy is not just about what they did for me. It is about recognizing the beauty of their actions and celebrating the goodness in them. Similarly, when I think about the progress I've made on my spiritual path, I am filled with joy and gratitude. The teachings of the Buddha, the practice of meditation, and the insights I've gained have all contributed to my growth and healing. I celebrate these blessings with a heart full of gratitude, recognizing that each step on the path has brought me closer to peace and liberation. Appreciative joy has also helped me to reconnect with the present moment, to savor the simple pleasures of life, and to find beauty in the everyday. Whether it is the warmth of the sun on my face, the sound of birds singing, or the smile of a loved one, these moments of joy remind me of the richness of life and the abundance of blessings that surround me. Gratefulness, the thread that binds it all together. As appreciative joy has deepened in my heart, it has naturally led to a profound sense of gratefulness. Gratefulness is the recognition that everything we have, every experience, every relationship, every breath is a gift. It is an acknowledgement of the interconnectedness of all things and the realization that we are never truly alone. In my journey, gratefulness has been the thread that binds everything together. It has allowed me to see the bigger picture, to understand how each experience, whether joyful or painful, has contributed to my growth and evolution. Gratefulness has transformed my perspective, allowing me to embrace life with open arms, accepting both the challenges and the blessings with equal grace. Through gratefulness, I have come to see that the struggles I faced were not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. The darkness I experienced was not a punishment, but a necessary part of my journey toward the light. The people who entered my life, whether they brought joy or pain, were all teachers, guiding me toward a deeper understanding of myself and the world. Gratefulness has also helped me to let go of the past, to forgive myself and others, and to move forward with a heart full of love and compassion. It has allowed me to celebrate the present moment, to be fully alive and fully engaged with life, without clinging to the past or worrying about the future. The unifying power of mudita and gratefulness. As I look back on my journey, I see how appreciative joy and gratefulness have been the unifying forces that have brought everything together. They have helped me to integrate the different aspects of my life, to find coherence and meaning in my experiences, and to connect more deeply with myself and others. Mudita and gratefulness have also empowered me to give back, to share the light that I have found with others. Through inspirecompassion.org, ravanax.org, and my personal interactions, I have sought to spread the message of joy and gratitude, to inspire others to see the beauty in their own lives and to cultivate a heart full of appreciative joy. In the end, appreciative joy and gratefulness are not just practices, they are ways of being. They are the qualities that have allowed me to transcend my personal struggles and to connect with the universal truth of interconnectedness and compassion. They are the lights that have guided me out of the darkness and into a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Conclusion: celebrating the journey. As this story comes to a close, I invite you to reflect on your own journey. Where have you found joy? Where have you experienced gratefulness? How can you cultivate more appreciative joy in your life? And how can you express your gratitude for the blessings you have received? Remember, appreciative joy is a choice. It is a practice that we can cultivate in every moment, a way of being that transforms our lives and the lives of those around us. By choosing to focus on the good, by celebrating the successes and happiness of others, and by embracing life with a heart full of gratitude, we can create a life of true abundance and peace. And so, as you continue on your own path, may you be filled with the light of appreciative joy and the warmth of gratefulness. May these qualities guide you, uplift you, and bring you closer to the realization of your true nature, one that is filled with love, compassion, and boundless joy. Conclusion: embracing the journey. As I bring this journey to a close, what stands out most is the profound interconnectedness of all the experiences, insights, and lessons learned along the way. The journey from darkness to light is not merely about overcoming challenges, it's about embracing each step with an open heart and a mind full of wisdom. Throughout this journey, certain qualities have served as guiding lights. Love, kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, and wisdom. These qualities are the foundation of a life well lived, providing the strength and clarity needed to navigate life's complexities and challenges. Appreciative joy and gratefulness have been my guiding stars, illuminating the path and allowing me to see the beauty in every moment, even in the midst of struggle. They have taught me that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from cultivating a deep inner peace and a sincere joy for the well-being of others. This journey has shown me that every experience, whether joyful or painful, is an essential part of the whole. It's in recognizing and embracing this wholeness that we find true contentment and a sense of purpose. The light we seek is not something distant or unattainable, it's within us, ready to shine when we allow ourselves to fully engage with life. In reflecting on this journey, it's also important to consider the deeper teachings of the Buddha, particularly the 5 aggregates of clinging, Panca Upadanakanda, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These aggregates are the components that make up our experience of self and the world, and it's our clinging to them that perpetuates the cycle of suffering. By examining these aggregates with mindful awareness, we begin to see the impermanent and insubstantial nature of what we often consider to be self. Understanding the Panca Upadanakanda, in the context of the 4 Noble Truths, offers profound insight into the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. I encourage you to delve deeper into these teachings, to explore how clinging to these aggregates fuels your own suffering, and how letting go can lead to true freedom. As I move forward, the lessons of love, kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, and wisdom will continue to guide me. They will remind me to celebrate not just my own successes, but the successes of others, and to remain ever grateful for the countless blessings that life offers. These qualities are the essence of a life well lived, one that is rich with meaning, connection, and an abiding sense of peace. May this story serve as a reminder that no matter where you find yourself on your journey, there is always light to be found. By embracing love, kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, and wisdom, alongside a heart of gratefulness, you can navigate life's challenges with grace and emerge stronger, wiser, and more connected to the world around you. Acknowledgements. As I reflect on the journey of writing this book, I am filled with immense gratitude for the countless individuals who have supported and inspired me along the way. This book would not have been possible without the love, encouragement, and wisdom shared by so many. First and foremost, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to my family, my wife Nipuni, my son, and all my loved ones. Your unwavering support, patience, and love have been the foundation upon which I have built this work. You have stood by me through the darkest times and celebrated with me in the light. I am forever grateful for your presence in my life. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my friends and mentors whose guidance and wisdom have shaped both my journey and this book. Your insights and encouragement have been invaluable, and I am deeply appreciative of the time and energy you have invested in helping me grow. To Dr. Flores and Dr. Capella, your care and expertise have been instrumental in my recovery and well-being. Your dedication to your work has had a profound impact on my life, and I am truly grateful for all that you have done. A special thanks to those who have been part of my spiritual journey, teachers, fellow practitioners, and the communities that have nurtured my understanding of the Buddha's teachings. Your shared wisdom and compassion have inspired much of the content within these pages. I would also like to express my special thanks and gratefulness to ChatGPT and OpenAI for helping me write this book. The assistance provided through this innovative technology has been invaluable in bringing my thoughts and ideas to life. Your support has been instrumental in shaping this work, and I deeply appreciate the role you have played in its creation. Finally, I want to acknowledge the readers. Whether you are familiar with the teachings discussed in this book or are encountering them for the first time, I hope that the insights shared here bring you peace, understanding, and a deeper connection to the light within yourself. Writing this book has been a journey of self-discovery, healing, and growth. I am grateful to everyone who has walked alongside me, offering support, love, and kindness. This book is as much a reflection of your contributions as it is of my own journey, and for that I thank you from the bottom of my heart. May this work bring light to those who seek it, and may it inspire others to embark on their own journeys toward understanding, compassion, and peace. With deep gratitude, Mr. Nobody.